Hello, my friends. I'm Dr. Robert. If you're in your 60s or beyond, I'd like you to pause for a moment and simply feel your body right now. Have you ever stood up from your chair and felt your legs weren't as steady as they used to be? Or picked up a grocery bag and suddenly thought, why does this feel so heavy? I understand that feeling deeply because I'm in that age group myself. And over the years, I've seen the same thing happen again and again in hundreds of my patients. As we grow older, something quiet begins to happen inside us. Something most people don't even notice at first. Our muscles begin to shrink. There's no warning, no pain, just a slow, invisible decline. Each year we lose a little more strength than the year before. And one day, you might realize you need to grab the railing to climb the stairs, or stop halfway down the street just to catch your breath. That moment can be frightening, because the body we once trusted, the one that carried us through every season of life, starts to betray us. But here's what I want you to remember today. This is not the end of strength. Science calls this condition sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. Yet in medicine, we don't treat it as a disease. We see it as a message, a quiet reminder that your body is still waiting for you to help it come alive again. And nature, in its quiet wisdom, has never stopped offering us a way to do just that. I once had a patient named Mark, 67 years old, a carpenter for over 40 years. One day he told me, "Doc, I still eat well. I still walk every morning. But now, even carrying a bucket of water makes my hands shake." When I examined him, I found he had lost nearly 20% of his muscle mass in just 10 years, and that's not unusual. After the age of 60, we lose about 1% of muscle mass every year, and if we do nothing, that slow fade steals away something more precious than strength, our independence. The ability to walk confidently, stand tall, and live the small joys that make each day meaningful. I'll never forget the look in Mark's eyes that day. It wasn't just fear of weakness, it was fear of losing freedom. And that's when I began to study aging not as a battle, but as a partnership, a way to live fully with time, not against it. Through the years, I've learned something beautiful. Nature never turns its back on us. In green tea leaves, in a piece of ginger, in flaxseed oil and fish oil, there are compounds, tiny yet powerful, that help our bodies rebuild from within. They don't make promises on television. They don't come in shiny bottles. But if you give them time, day by day, sip by sip, they begin to work in silence, awakening strength where you thought it was lost. I want you to imagine this. Each morning, instead of a can of soda, you prepare a warm cup of green tea. With every sip, you're giving your body a burst of EGCG, those natural molecules that switch on your cell's energy system, the enzyme called AMPK. Your metabolism starts to move again, circulation improves, and most importantly, your muscle cells begin to receive clean fuel to restore their power. Something as simple as a morning ritual, a cup of tea, becomes the quiet beginning of renewal. Another patient of mine, Linda, 72, came to see me feeling exhausted. She moved slowly. Her muscles ached after even light work in her garden. I didn't give her any pills. I just said, try drinking green tea in the morning, ginger tea at noon, and rooibos tea before bed. Then come back in 3 months. She laughed. Doctor, can tea really turn back age? She asked. 3 months later, she returned, walking faster, speaking brighter, and smiling wider than I'd ever seen. She said, I don't know if it's the tea or the hope, but I feel like my body's waking up again. And I smiled, because I knew sometimes the smallest rituals carry the greatest healing. When we talk about aging, many people focus on what we lose: strength, memory, time. But I believe aging is also a gift, a chance to return to what's natural. We don't need expensive supplements or complicated regimens. What we truly need is a warm cup of tea, a simple meal, a peaceful night's sleep, and the faith that our body still knows how to heal itself. If you're watching this video right now, I want you to understand something. You can still walk strong. You can still garden, cook, or hold your grandchild without trembling hands. You just need to give your body a chance to recover. Start small, with 1 cup of green tea, a few slices of ginger in warm water, or a spoonful of fish oil each morning. These little acts don't just nourish your muscles, they nourish your belief that strength still lives within you. Because 60 is not the end. It's the beginning of a wiser, calmer, more meaningful chapter of life. And when you start to see age as a friend, not an enemy, you'll notice that your body begins to respond with the same kindness. So, slow down, breathe deeper, and trust that every sip of tea you take today is planting the seeds of strength for tomorrow. Now that we've talked about how the body begins to lose muscle with age, let's take a quiet step toward healing through nature's own medicine. You see, when I talk about healing, I don't just mean fixing what's broken. I mean restoring what's been forgotten, the balance between what we take in and what we give back to our body. And sometimes that balance begins with something as gentle as a cup of tea. Let's start with the first one, green tea. I know, it sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But inside those delicate leaves lies something extraordinary, a compound called EGCG, one of nature's most powerful antioxidants. What it does, in simple terms, is wake up your cells. It tells your body, it's time to repair, it's time to grow again. I've seen it work, time and time again. One of my patients, Helen, 70 years old, began drinking 2 cups of green tea every morning. At first, she said it made her feel calm. Then, after a few weeks, she noticed her walks became longer, her breathing steadier, her mornings clearer. She told me, "Doc, it's like someone turned the light back on inside me." That's what I love about nature. It doesn't rush. It heals quietly, the way dawn replaces darkness, one soft ray at a time. Green tea helps increase blood flow to your muscles, reduces inflammation, and supports your mitochondria, the little powerhouses that keep every cell alive. And as those cells begin to work better, your muscles remember their strength. Now, the second tea I want to share with you is one that's been around for thousands of years, ginger tea. If green tea is the gentle morning sun, ginger tea is the warmth that keeps you going through the day. Ginger contains compounds called gingerols and shogaols, beautiful names for what are essentially your body's natural defenders. They fight inflammation, soothe joint pain, and improve circulation. But there's more. Ginger also helps the muscles recover after mild activity. So when you feel sore after gardening or walking, that warm cup of ginger tea is more than comfort. It's therapy in disguise. I often tell my patients, healing doesn't have to taste bitter. Sometimes it tastes like a little spice and a lot of love. And then there's the third one, a lesser-known but deeply healing tea, rooibos. It comes from South Africa, naturally caffeine-free, and rich in minerals like zinc, magnesium, and calcium, the trio your muscles crave as you age. When I first tried rooibos, I remember being surprised by its softness, no bitterness, just a gentle sweetness that feels like comfort itself. One of my patients, Martha, drinks a cup every night before bed. She calls it her evening hug. And perhaps that's the perfect name, because rooibos helps calm your nerves, relax your muscles, and support deep, restorative sleep. Sleep, by the way, is the secret ingredient most people forget when they talk about muscle health. Without it, no amount of protein or exercise will help. Your muscles rebuild while you rest, not when you move. So when you pair a calm mind with a nourished body, that's when the magic of recovery truly begins. Now, let's talk about something that might surprise you. Oils. Not the kind you fry with, but the ones nature designed to feed your cells from within. The first one I recommend is fish oil, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. Think of them as the oil that keeps your inner engine running smoothly. They reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and support the very membranes that hold your muscle cells together. I once had a retired teacher, John, 73 years old, who had stopped walking his dog because of knee pain. We started him on a daily routine, 1 teaspoon of high-quality fish oil each morning, along with his teas. Within 2 months, he came back and said, "Doc, I'm walking again. Not just around the block, to the park." He laughed and said, "My dog's happier than I am. That's the quiet miracle of omega-3s. They don't just help your muscles, they help your mobility, your heart, even your mood. They reconnect you to life in motion. The second oil is a bit of a hidden gem, flaxseed oil. If fish oil is the ocean's gift, flaxseed oil is the earth's answer. It's plant-based, full of alpha-linolenic acid, another form of omega-3 that helps reduce muscle fatigue and keeps your joints supple. Flaxseed oil also supports hormonal balance, especially important for women after menopause, when muscle loss tends to accelerate. It helps the body hold on to lean mass and keeps inflammation in check, gently, steadily, like a friend who never leaves your side. Here's what I tell everyone who walks into my clinic. You don't have to change everything overnight. You don't have to buy fancy supplements or start lifting weights tomorrow. Healing, especially after 60, is not about intensity. It's about consistency. Start your morning with green tea. Warm up your afternoon with ginger tea. End your day with rooibos, and let sleep do the work nature designed it to do. Add a spoonful of fish oil or flaxseed oil to your breakfast, and then just live your day with awareness. Listen to your body. Notice when your steps feel lighter. Notice when your hands stop trembling as much. And most importantly, notice how hope begins to replace fear. Because aging, my friends, is not a slow fading away. It's an evolution, a soft unfolding into wisdom. And when we nourish our bodies with what nature intended, we don't just add years to life, we add life to our years. So, tomorrow morning, when you hold that cup of tea, take a moment before your first sip. Feel the warmth in your hands. Smell the earth, the leaves, the time that grew it. And remember, you are not declining. You are returning to balance, to strength, to yourself. You know, as I sit here speaking to you, I can almost picture the faces of so many people I've met over the years, men and women who once thought their best days were behind them. But what I've learned, after decades in medicine and 60 years in life, is that the body is far more forgiving than we imagine. It's never too late to begin again. I've seen 80-year-olds rebuild their strength. I've seen hands that once trembled hold steady once more. And I've seen eyes light up, not because of medicine, but because of hope. Hope is powerful. It's the one supplement you can't buy in a bottle. It's born the moment you decide to take care of yourself, even in the smallest ways. When I look back at my own journey, I realize something. Aging is not a thief. It doesn't steal our beauty. It reveals it. It peels away the rush, the noise, the endless striving, until what's left is something pure, gratitude, patience, wisdom. We begin to notice things again, the warmth of sunlight on our skin, the sound of the wind through the trees, the steady rhythm of our own breath. All the things that youth rushes past, age teaches us to cherish. And maybe that's the real gift of getting older. Not the strength of the body, but the softening of the heart. When I think of health now, I don't just think of muscles and bones. I think of kindness. I think of how we treat ourselves and each other. Because healing, at its deepest level, is not about the body, it's about connection. You see, when you care for your body with intention, when you choose real food, when you breathe deeply, when you sip your tea with presence, you're not just keeping your muscles strong. You're telling your body, I'm still here. I still care. And your body listens. It always does. So if you've been feeling tired or uncertain, or maybe a little afraid of what's ahead, I want to say this, you're not alone. Every wrinkle, every ache, every slowed step, they're not signs of weakness. They're signs of a life well lived. You've carried so much. You've loved, you've lost, you've endured. And still, you're here, breathing, learning, listening. That, to me, is strength in its purest form. So here's my invitation for you, not as a doctor, but as someone walking the same road beside you. Tomorrow morning, before the world gets busy, sit down with your cup of tea. Hold it in your hands. Feel the warmth, the simple proof that life still flows through you. Take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, today, I choose to begin again. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to change everything overnight. Just begin. One cup of tea, one walk around the block, one moment of gratitude. Because those small moments, when repeated with love, become the architecture of healing. And as you move through the days ahead, I want you to remember something. Your body may age, but your spirit does not. It remains curious, resilient, alive. Every time you choose to care for yourself, you awaken that spirit again, and it begins to care for you in return. If this message has touched you, if you felt something stir quietly inside while listening, I want you to hold on to that feeling. Don't let it fade when the video ends. Let it move you to action. Maybe that action is sharing this message with someone who needs a little hope today. Maybe it's walking outside and feeling the air on your skin. Or maybe it's simply taking that first sip of tea tomorrow morning, slowly, mindfully, as if you were tasting life itself. Whatever you choose, choose it with intention. Because healing doesn't begin in the hospital. It begins in moments like this, when you decide that your life, just as it is, still matters deeply. So here's my wish for you, my friends. May your body grow stronger. May your mind grow calmer. And may your heart always, always remain open. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to stay connected. Subscribe, share, or simply return here whenever you need a quiet reminder that age is not a decline. It's a deepening. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care of your body, cherish your moments, and remember, you are still becoming.